All right, everyone, welcome to today's review on the book Starts with Why. Great book and great author. Welcome to today's book review journey, The Growth Ritual, where we review books and understand what a book is trying to communicate. So, the book Starts with Why, written by Sinex. As we always do, as our culture is, before we delve into a book, before we delve into the chapters, we try to understand who the author is, right? So we try to understand who the author is, and this helps a lot in the perspective. This helps a lot in trying to interpret the concept of a book. This helps a lot in trying to, when we want to know the author's perspective, because it is not good to always generalize when it comes to reading a book and understanding what is being said. So, who is Sinex, or Simon Sinex, whichever way you want to pronounce it? Is a British American author and a motivational speaker, of course, and also a leadership expert. He has a very popular TEDx speech that went viral with one of the highest views so far. He's best known for popularizing the concept of the golden circle, which is also in this book. The golden circle basically focuses on why. Let's just do a brief search on the golden circle by Simon Sinex. So when we review the book, when I get to some chapters, I think it talks about this in all the chapters. So if you understand the golden circle, you understand the concept Simon Sinex is trying to explain. Once you understand this, I think you even pretty much understand good percentage of everything he's trying to explain in the book the moment you understand the golden circle, because in each and every chapters of this book, in each chapter he talks about it. So let's just do a brief view of what the golden circle is by Simon Sinex. What does it describe by golden circle? Of course, why, how, what. He gave several examples on this, basically. Why, how, and what. So according to him, if you want to create, or if you want to be successful in anything you do, there is a golden circle. You always have to start with the why, which is meant to be the foundation of anything you are doing. Then after the why you are doing it, then it gets to the how, and after the how you are going to do it gets to the what. If you follow this rule according to Simon Sinex, you are going to be successful in anything you are doing. He used several examples using the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers had a competitor then that was already an astronomic professor, and an astronomy professor that already had the backing of the government, that already had several helps and all of that. But he couldn't beat the Wright brothers when it comes to creating the first machine that will fly, because of the why. The why was not rooted in conviction. So this is the rule, of course. So before you embark in anything, according to him, this is his popular golden circle rule. There always has to be a why. Without why, you'll be able to succeed in anything. You'll be able to beat your competitor. For instance, I think I can use the example of Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. When it comes to going to space, then I think Jeff Bezos flew to space, possibly because he wanted to just compete. But the Elon Musk why is very strong. That's why Elon Musk has been surviving all these years. So the golden circle, basically, let's just read what's here before we delve into the chapters. We see here the why, which is the smaller circle. Very few organizations know why they do what they do. Why is not about making money, that's a result. Why is the purpose, cause, or belief? Basically, this is what you also explain in the book. It's the very reason your organization exists. Is it to help the poor? Is it to help the rich? Is it to help you look classy? He gave several example about Apple. It's because of their why that they will always stand out. Then the how is, some organizations know how they do it. These are the things that make them special and set them apart, right? So there should be a why first, then there should be a how, then what. Every organization is on the planet. Every organization on the planet knows what they do. These are the products they sell, or the services. In order for how and what to thrive, this is the golden circle. The why has to be the foundation. The why is very key. Why are you a leader? You also talk about leadership. This book is a leadership book, as you see. So this book is full of why in every page. Trust me when I say this. When I say in every page in this book, you are going to see the word why not less than 10 times. You're going to see the word why written boldly with capital letters, not less than 10 times. This book is just full of why. I think it's just that's why I think that's why it made it start with why, right? So it's just the why, giving several examples of leaders, giving several examples of organizations and people that have thrived in whatsoever thing they are doing, giving examples of the reason why most of them, they're giving several examples that the reason why most of them thrive or succeeded was because of the why. The why was strong enough to help them keep going, right? So now let's delve into the book, to the chapters. This is a great book for leaders. This is a great book for leadership. He, like the first in the introduction, of course, he talked about Martin Luther King. Then he talked about let's move to the book now. He talks about Martin Luther King Jr. I think. Then several great leaders gave as example that were able to change the course of things because of just the why. People follow great leaders because of the why, not because of what they are trying to benefit from them. So this is the book now. Let's move to the first words of this book. I think that's a very interesting part where he talks. I think when I get his first words, then I'll just summarize the part 1 to 3. So the book has 6 parts and 14 chapters. In this episode, I'm going to be reviewing 7 chapters and 3 parts. Now, there are leaders, according to him, there are leaders and there are those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power and influence. Those who lead inspire us. Whether individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead, not because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead, not for them, but for ourselves. This is a book for those who want to inspire others and those who want to find someone to inspire them. So that's basically what the book is about. Inspiring people, how to inspire people, how great leaders inspire people, what great leaders do to inspire people. Now let's go to the chapters. In chapter 1, assume you know, like we saw earlier, I think we've seen this in the previous part. So let's move to part 2, which is alternative perspective. The golden cycle, as I explained earlier, I've already explained it. Give several examples about the golden cycle using Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak as examples, right? So these guys built because of the why. Till date, that's why Apple still thrive. So that's the golden cycle. He gave example also of Wilbur and his brother, that's the Wright brothers, how it was because of the why that they kept building, even as using tools from their small bicycle shops. They built the first plane to fly, and they had a competitor then. I think I should try to get that competitor's name. Please, let's just get the competitor's name, and also I'm going to get his name, and then we'll do a brief study on him, because it was actually he had more advantages, right? He had more advantage to prosper, basically, in what he was doing. He had more advantage over the Wright brothers, and he had the people's support. This is even the most triggering information to hear. He had the support of the masses already. He had the support of the masses. Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted him to win. Everybody expected him to build the first object that is going to fly, because come on, he was already an astronomer. He already had funding from he was already into astronomy. He was already a professor, and he couldn't still get this big win. Yeah, so I think I got it. So let's just see it together. His name was Langley. Yes, Langley was explained in this book. Samuel Langley. Please, let me get to show you the page just in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, so this was the Wright brothers competitor. Let's see how the Google described him. So I just did the basic search. Who was Langley in Wright brothers story? Samuel Pierpont Langley was the Wright brothers' chief rival in the race to invent the first successful airplane. An esteemed astronomer, right? He was an astronomer, of course. It was then the astronomers were basically those that understood how the space works. They were already known for that, an expert in astronomy. Let's just do a basic definition of astronomy so that you understand how this was a key individual then, or those days. Of course, he was into the science of the universe and Earth's atmosphere, also understanding planetary bodies. So he was already known then. He was already popular, right? And he was a secretary of Smithsonian Institute, one of the best those days. I think he even assisted a particular professor in Harvard University then too. So he was respected scientist who established the first Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory. He approached aviation from a heavily theoretical and mathematical standpoint. He already had the chances. Come on, he was already good in this, right? He was already good in science. He had the funding of the government. Okay, let's see it here. I think unlike the Wright brothers who funded their bicycle shop experiments out of their pockets, Langley received a 50,000 grant. Imagine then, in 1903 or in the 1900s, imagine him receiving $50,000 grant from the U.S. Army and $20,000 from the Smithsonian to build his aircraft, the aerodrome. But he couldn't, right? So the author of this book, Sinex, shows us how the reason why this must have not been successful, even if it had more chances to have been successful, is because of the why. His why must have been taunted. His why must have not been similar to the why of the Wright brothers. His why must have been to just make money off this, right? But the Wright brothers' why was very different. That's why they were passionate. That's why they funded this from their pocket. So Sinex expanded this. He dedicated a lot of pages to explain this fact. He dedicated a lot of pages to explain So now let's go back to the chapters. Thank you for the patience. Apologies for the pause. That's the golden circle, as I just explained. Then this is not opinion, this is biology. Now all these chapters have sub chapters, and here it talks about the limbic. Think limbic something. Please let me also get that. Let me get that word. He was actually trying to talk about the part of the human brain that deals with thinking and emotions. It shows how most of the decisions humans make are not really that logical or rational. He used the word the limbic. Hold on, let me just check. Let's just check this together. Limba. See limba? Yes, I think the limbic system. Yes, limbic system. So that's the part of your brain that deals with emotions, that deals with thinking, feeling scared. So the limbic system is a complex network of structures located deep within the brain, beneath the cerebral cortex and above the brain stem. What does it do? It's primarily responsible for regulating fundamental emotional and behavioral responses, motivation, long-term memory, and all of that. So He just talked about this limbic system, how it influences a lot when it comes to people listening to you, people following you, following your business, or anything you have to build, or any result you want to get, right? So it's usually a biology. People easily, he gave several illustrations and examples of how when you travel to a country, you tend to be more connected to people of your race, or people that have the same values as yours, right? So there is every decision, not every decision by a customer is usually rational or logical. Most of the time, there is that limbic system that we all need to acknowledge that is in the human's nature, and it's in the human's pattern of making a judgment. That is why till date, even if, according to him, even if people try to explain why they love Apple for its sleekness or whatsoever, there are other smartphone devices that are sleeker, that have better UI and all of that. It is just that limbic part of their memory that they cannot explain the emotions that come with it. But that is what Apple has built around their brand, the why. That's why most of the time, even when they launch new version, it doesn't seem any different, but people still tend to love it. People still tend to patronize Apple because of the why, because of why Apple is Apple, right? Because of the pride that comes with it, because of the uniqueness that comes with it, because of the sleekness that comes with it, with its brand. That is why the workers will also be proud to work there. There is something about Apple. So that's what it just shows, is a biology. People are not always created to make logical decisions. It's not that way. He gave example about Southwest Airline. I think Southwest Airline is an American airline brand, basically. So he gave example about it, about how they started with a why and it made them thrive over time. And then he gave an example of Costa. I think there's a particular airline also that failed over the years and had to merge with United Airlines, right? So the why is always key. The reason why Southwest Airline in America thrived over the years and is still thriving till date, I think Southwest or Southern, is because during the 1970s, according to him, most people that flew airlines were 15% of Americans were flying, right? 15%. So their focus was on the 85% that might have not been able to, maybe were not able to afford at that point in time, right? So their goal was to fight against just the normal buses and cabs and trains to make it affordable to the 85%. This made them thrive over the years till date. So the why is key. I think even personally, I think Elon Musk also, as I've studied him in one of the books written by a particular author, I studied that book years back, and you see the why for Elon Musk's goal. Of course, he always has a why. Anything he's doing, he always has a why. Sustainability. Even when he was building Tesla, when he started SpaceX, I think SpaceX just had their first IPO, and that made Elon Musk the first trillionaire in the history of the world, right? So the why is always key. Just the why, the basic why. Is it, why am I starting this company? If the why is wrong, then the how is going to be wrong, the golden circle and the what is going to be wrong, and after some time everything is going to crumble. The why has to be very strong. Hopefully, as we go towards the end of this book, it's going to show us how to choose a why. And in chapter 5, also on the part 2, it talks about clarity, discipline, and consistency. This is what we talk about every day. It talks about being clear on what you are doing and being disciplined to it, and also being consistent. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is, when you stick to your why, according to him, clarity will come over time. And then if you merge the discipline with it and consistency, then there's definitely going to be results. So right in this live, I'm going to open this particular chapter 5, to just read out a particular place I highlighted. Alright, so he had several subtopics here. Discipline of how, consistency of what, it talks about the right order. You see, after you have clarity of why, are disciplined and accountable to your own values and guiding principles, are consistent in all you say and do, the final step is to keep it all in the right order. Just like the little Apple marketing example he used earlier, simply changing the order of information, starting with why, change the impact of the message. Starting with why will help you to grow, starting with why will help you to make the right decision even when you grow. Now to part 3, leaders need following. So the in chapter 6 it talks about the emergence of trust. In this part it talks about a bank that was able to trust a man so much that he lost the money and they went bankrupt. I think that was in 1970 something. So in this chapter it talks about trust. In this chapter it talks about trust. It talks about how it's through trust that leaders are built. How is when people trust you, the leaders, that you would become a leader that has proper following. So I think that'll be all for today's episode. Thank you all so much for joining. Don't forget, as we stated, the golden circle is one of the most important part of this book. And like I said, this book, the golden circle, the why, according to Sinex, then the how, and then the what. And then I said this book is filled with why. I promise you, every single page in this book has not less than 10 use of the word why everywhere. You need to know why. And I think I need to also be able to apply that even to my life. Why am I engaging in this life? Is it just to show myself as someone reading? No, it's just to help in consistency, to prove consistency to the end point that there is result. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for joining in. I love every single one of you. And in the next episode, we are going to see the other chapters of this same book. After this book, we have another great book we are going to review. Thank you so much for joining in. See you some other time.